Welcome to the Consulting Success Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Zapersky. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into the world of elite consultants, where you'll learn the strategies, tactics, and mindset to grow a highly profitable and successful consulting business.
Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the Consulting Success Podcast. Joining Michael on the show today is Andreas Molina, who's the founder of the Global Manager Consulting firm, with over 25 years of experience in leading international teams across multinational companies. Now, his team has extensive experience in various executive roles, such as VP of International Business, VP of Marketing and Sales, and Global Head of Talent Acquisitions. He focuses on training individuals and companies worldwide in intercultural competencies, having worked with over 100 companies to train more than 1,300 people. His work spans across 31 countries and continents, including Europe, Asia, and the Americas. But before we jump into today's episode, are you ready to grow and take your consulting business to the next level? Many of the clients we work with started as podcast listeners just like you. And a consistent theme they have shared with us is they had wished they had reached out sooner about our Clarity Coaching program rather than waiting for that perfect time. If you're interested in learning more about how we help consultants just like you, we are offering a free, no-pressure growth session call, where on the call, we will dive deep into your goals, challenges, and situation and outline a plan that is tailor-made just for you. We will also help you identify where you may be making costly and time-consuming mistakes to ensure you're benefiting from proven methods and strategies to grow your consulting business. Don't wait years to find clarity. If you're committed and serious about reaching a new level of success in your consulting business, go ahead and schedule your free growth session call today. Just visit consultingsuccess.com/grow to book your free call today. Okay, so now let me tell you a little bit more about what you're going to learn in today's episode with Andreas. First is how to connect with decision makers inside large corporations, how to create sticky customers that don't leave, how to use LinkedIn to position yourself as an expert, how to build a team of freelance experts, and how to structure payments to win more business, plus so much more. Here to share with you his full story and insights is Andreas Molina. Enjoy.
Andreas, welcome.
Hello, Michael. Thank you very much.
Yeah, looking forward to our conversation here. So I thought we'd start off, you've worked with companies like Danone, Banco Colombia, Siemens, Bangalore University. These are very different types of organizations, right, all around the world. Tell me what went into landing those companies as clients. Why did they select to work with you?
Well, let's say the common thread between all of them is that they have multicultural issues. So if you see them, most of them are multinationals or at least local companies that have either providers or clients abroad. And they started having cultural clashes. And at some point, they realized it was affecting their business. So that's when they raise their hand and say, hey, this is bigger than we can handle and we need some help.
Great. I want to get a lot deeper into that in terms of how do they find you, the marketing behind it, how you built up the business to where it is today. But just for everybody joining us, can you share a little bit more about kind of the size and the scope of the business? How many people are involved? Where is it based? Average size of, let's say, engagement, annual revenues, just anything that you're comfortable sharing? Go ahead.
Absolutely. So we are a small company. We are in total 6 people. Nevertheless, I'm the only fixed employee. The other 5 people are freelancers. And depending on the kind of project, I activate this or that. So they are anthropologists, psychologists, and sociologists. So in different projects, I work with different people. Last year, we ended up 2023 with $2.3 million. And the average engagement, I would say, is about 160, 180,000, something like that.
Okay, got it. Fantastic. All right. So you talked about the reason that most of your clients in these organizations bring you in is because they're having some kind of intercultural competence issue or a bit of a clash, right, between cultures. And we're in a very kind of global environment these days. I'm wondering, when people reach out or when you reach out, just in general, do most of these organizations, do they see the value of investing in intercultural competence and getting help in that kind of cultural area? And do they have the budget for that already prepared? Or is this something that you find you have to educate people a lot around and talk to them about and really make a case for?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to educate people because this is the hardest part, that they don't realize that they have a problem. And sometimes they openly say, hey, Andres, you're selling smoke. I don't have that problem. So I am like, okay, is this happening to you? Is this other thing happening to you? And this is also happening to you? Well, there you go. Then you have a problem. So I would say 80% of my time trying to open my client's eyes in terms of, hey, this is not a normal thing. You shouldn't just take it for granted. This is something that is causing future problems, at least future or maybe present problems. So we need to take care of them.
How do you get a seat at the table? Meaning, how do you even get the meeting, right? Have the opportunity to have that conversation with these executives, with these decision makers, if they don't see that the problem exists, right? A challenge a lot of people have, consultants have, getting somebody's attention, getting to the point where they can have a conversation. If the person on the other side doesn't necessarily see that there's a problem or that there's value to be created. So how do you make sure that you get yourself into that position where you can ask those questions and then start to educate that buyer?
Well, to tell you the truth, Michael, I'm pretty bad at advertising myself. So most of my clients come for referrals. People who saw me in a company and then they move to another company and then they realize they have the same problem and then they call me, things like that. So usually what I see is that people don't consider that an intercultural clash is the source of a problem or the source of bad performance in their business. So what I have to do is, from the beginning, show them cases. That's the best way to show this is the picture before and this is the picture after. Otherwise, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to understand. Or maybe they do understand, but I am not that clear in making them understand what is the advantage of working with this and working with me.
And when you say case, are you referring to like a case study you show them, kind of like a before and after situation? And are these case studies then case studies from work that you have done, or do you also pull from case studies that are just out there in the marketplace that you've found online or read about?
Yeah, that's a good question. Usually there are many bestsellers, cases that everybody is talking about. So I take those really famous cases and I show them. And then I go, let's say, a lower level, and I show them what I've been doing with my own clients, these companies I've been working with. And I said, well, now you saw what is going on in the market. Now I will show you what am I able to do in your company. So this is what I did in the last company. They were having such and such problem, and now they are dealing with it in this matter.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Now, what I would love is if we could hit the rewind button a little bit in your journey, because I know you're saying that most of your business, if not, it sounds like the vast majority, comes through referrals, right? So it's through people, you've done work, word spreads, people move, organizations, they bring you into the new organizations. That's fantastic, right? That's a testament to how you must be doing great work for your clients. But take us back in time, because in the early days, maybe you didn't get as many referrals or you didn't have that track record of success. So I'm wondering, how did you initially establish yourself when you didn't already have that track record of working with a lot of companies, providing consulting services, helping them to solve these problems? How did you get your foot in the door in the early stages? How did you get to have a seat at the table to have a conversation with those people?
Absolutely. My major is international business. So at the beginning of my career, I started working with multinationals, always in international business or, new market opening and so on. So I worked in America, then I moved to Germany, to Austria, then Colombia. In all these countries, in the multinational companies, I worked in the international sales department. So it was a place where, because of the nature of my work, I had these clashes with people from all over the world on a daily basis. So one day I asked myself, is this really so complicated? Has this really have to be so painful? Or working with people from other countries could be a little bit more softer, easier? So I started doing my research, and then I realized that there was like a wave of authors writing about it, throwing in the market some researchers, very interesting researchers. So I started applying this knowledge into those companies I was working with. And it started giving me a lot of benefits from day one. So I said, like, wow, this is really something. This is really a powerful tool. So I started working with my own company, with my own teammates and my own clients and so on. And then people from other companies or from other departments would call me and say, hey, Andres, you solved this problem, or now you seem to know a lot about working with other people. Can you help me with this? Because we are negotiating some machinery that we are bringing from another country and so on. So I started like that way. And one day, one company called me from Argentina and told me, hey, how much would you ask me for coming here to Argentina and help me with this situation? Because I have this issue with Chinese providers. And I was like, wow, oh my God, I have no idea. I have no idea how to charge you because I've never done it. This is not my job. So I just said like a random number and then say yes. Of course, I realized that it was very cheap.
Yeah.
So they said, yes, come here. So I went there and we started working. And then a Chinese company called me because they were involved in this machinery that was being sent to Argentina. So that's how they met me. So they called me and told me, hey, we're a Chinese mining company, and we have a lot of issues in some African countries. Can you help us with that? So I started working with this Chinese company, and then some other people heard about it, and that's how I started rolling and moving from one country to another. But to tell you the truth, it was never in my mind to become either a solo or a consulting company. Never. I was just doing it because I enjoy it, doing it because I was curious about the way you can work with different cultures, people from other countries, in a profitable way, in a way that you can get the best out of that relationship. But never, ever I saw it as a business.
When did you realize that, hey, this is actually a business and it has great growth potential and I'm making more money than I'm even making working in a company? Like, at what point did you get clear on this? I should actually be serious and go all in on this.
When I started realizing that my agenda was getting full, there was some point that I had to decide. I keep on going, working my office, daily work in the company in a multinational, or I jump out and start my own business, because I was doing it in parallel, and it was kind of hard sometimes because some of these clients require me to travel. So in the company I was working with, I had to ask for free days or my vacation days and so on. So it was kind of difficult. So when I saw that there was like break-even point if I drop my current job and I jump to the unknown, so then I decided it was not an easy step. And to tell you the truth, I did it twice. So I jumped into my solo career and I started working with clients. But after 3 years or so, one American company, I was with them, and after 6 months, they called me, hey, Andres, what are your plans for the future? Do you want to come here and be the vice president of talent? I was like, oh my God, I've never been I've never led talent department. I don't know. And I'm very happy working by myself. But yeah, let's see what happens. So I started working with them. The only thing is I negotiated. During the time I'm working with you, I am not looking for new clients, but I will keep on attending my current clients. And they say, okay, yeah, we can deal with that. And after 5 years, I jumped again to the solo.
So let me ask you about lead generation for a moment, because you mentioned, right, most of the business is referrals, it's word of mouth. is there anything that you do outside of just focusing on delivering great work for your clients and communicating with them? Is there anything else that you feel contributes to the pipeline and building future business?
Yes, LinkedIn. So I am not very active. As I said before, I am not good at advertising myself, but I do like sharing some stories. And that's what I do in LinkedIn. So from time to time, I write some article or some cases, or hey, this is what happened in my last visit to this client and so on. And even when I don't advertise myself, I don't invest in marketing or CEO or whatever, but I don't know how people find me there. And I've got 3 interesting clients came from articles that I wrote just to nobody.
Hey, it's Michael here, and we'll be right back to the podcast. But first, are you ready to grow, scale, and take your consulting business and marketing to the next level? If so, our Clarity Coaching program may be a great fit for you. You'll work with our experienced team to set up a strategic plan for your business and coach you step by step in areas like how to consistently attract more leads, develop a magnetic message that resonates with your ideal clients, strategically package and position your services, earn higher fees, win more proposals, and scale your business. To find out more about Clarity Coaching and apply, go to consultingsuccess.com and click on coaching.
When you say articles, Andres, are you referring to just like a post on LinkedIn? You just put a post there, like telling a story?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, post and articles in LinkedIn. And there's this, now you can post like some documents, full documents.
Sure.
So this is the kind of stuff I do in LinkedIn.
And when you say that you're active on LinkedIn, give everybody a sense, like how active? Are you posting every day, a few times a week? What does that look like?
Well, right now I'm kind of quiet in LinkedIn.
No, but that's okay. I just want to get a sense, like, because some people have this belief that because they've been told by quote unquote social media gurus that you have to post nonstop or you have to do this or that. My belief and my observation is that there's many different ways to grow a business and you need to find something that works for you. So I'm just really just interested in knowing what are you doing right now so that people can kind of get a sense and a different perspective.
I don't post very frequently because the kind of audience that I speak with or speak to is not audience that are eager to see me doing something, and changing my clothes and changing my background every day and seeing what I'm doing. So I don't do very frequent posting.
Okay. So you have a presence, but not that often.
Exactly. Let's say every other month or something like that. Because when I go and write something, I really put a lot into it. So it's quality over quantity, I would say.
And so when you say put a lot into it, it sounds like you're not just talking about a typical LinkedIn post. You're actually doing a LinkedIn article. So longer form, a longer article, or is it a short post, or both?
Both. Yeah. Sometimes when it is worth and I really have a good story, I go into it and I go into the details and numbers and stats, things like that. So when I see that it is big enough, I'm going to hang the full document. Otherwise, I just extract the main ideas, the ideas that I consider that would be helpful for somebody that is out there reading.
Right. Makes sense. Okay. Let's talk about the freelancers that you have. So you mentioned the company, including you, is 6 people, but you're the only kind of full-time employee. The other 5 are freelancers/contractors, depending how you want to define them, where you live in the world and so forth, different laws and all that. But how do you manage that? And here's kind of the context behind it. A lot of people have trouble with, or they're trying to kind of wrap their head around and have a good approach to managing contractors and freelancers, because it can be a bit of a chicken and egg, right? Like, let's say if you go out and all of a sudden you get contacted by a large organization or just a good sized project and you reach out to these 5 people and they're busy, what do you do? Or if, let's say, these people, you're not sure if they're available, does that hold you back from maybe trying to go out and get business? So can you share with us just your mindset overall? How do you think about this? And then is there anything that you do to manage capacity and make sure that you have the people and resources available to continue growing the business?
Okay. I started asking people to come and help me because of the need. And so it was not a planned thing. It was that when some projects are so big and they require a lot of field work, so going to the field, interviewing people or talking to communities and things like that takes a lot of time. And sometimes if I want to do it by myself, it's going to take very, very long. So sometimes clients are not willing to wait. So they require a really fast solution. So I need to go and find people. And sometimes, to be honest, is that I don't have the capacity that these contractors or freelancers have, because as I said, I'm international negotiator. So I deal with negotiations, I deal with commercial staff, marketing and things. But my freelancers are anthropologists, psychologists, or sociologists. So I'll give you an example. When I started working with this Chinese company, the situation was intercultural clash between the mining company, the Chinese company, and the local communities. So the workers of the company, they were part of this community. So the clashes were not between the workers and the company in terms of, hey, you are not being fair, the working conditions, nothing like that. Is, hey, you're affecting my family, you're affecting my kids, you're affecting my community. So in this case, the right person to help me is anthropologists and sociologists. But in some other negotiations where I apply these cross-cultural, but sometimes the projects, for example, negotiation between a company and a union. So therefore, I do require more organizational psychologists and people with these different profiles.
Right. So let's just take a situation where maybe you're contacted by a company, a person that wants your help. When that happens, what's your process? Do you then think about, of course, you're going to think about who do you need, maybe which contractors, freelancers do you need on this project? And then you send them an email. But when you do that, how confident do you feel? Like what percentage out of 100 are these people going to be available for you? And if they're not available for you, what do you do then?
Well, when I contact the contractors, is because I am 100% sure that I already won the project.
Okay. Do you say that you want or you won the project?
That I won.
You won it. Okay, so you've already won the project.
So the process would be like this. When I contact a client, I would go, I hear their needs, I show them what we can do for them. And once we negotiate what is going to be the intervention or the help that they are going to receive from me, I go back and contact the freelancers, because then I know what is exactly what the client is contracting me for. So therefore, I know what kind of profile of a freelancer I will need. So I contact them with the security that there is going to be a project. So I usually get a yes, because these kind of projects that I work with are not immediate projects. Like usually they are not calling me to start tomorrow, but we need to have some plan.
How long typically from the time they say, yes, we want to do this, to the project actually being started where the freelancer needs to get involved?
A couple of weeks.
Okay.
When I call my freelancers, they usually are busy at the moment, but we can plan because we are talking 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead, so we can organize time.
Got it. Okay. I think that's going to be very interesting for some people to hear, because maybe a typical assumption that many people would have is that as part of your proposal, you would mention either the names of the team members or at least kind of the title or the group of experts on your team. So my guess is, correct if I'm wrong on this, you may mention the kind of the talent and the team that you bring to the project, but you're not mentioning the names of the people in the actual proposal or the conversation until afterwards. Is that correct? Or is there something different there?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Let's talk about your actual services and how you deliver them. When I went to your website, your main offering is workshops. You also said that your average project value, is north of $150,000 per project. That might sound like a lot for a workshop. So walk me through what does the typical service offer look like when you begin with a client? Does it start with a workshop and then go into a different direction? Is it multiple workshops? Is it just one big workshop? What does the actual delivery and service look like?
Yeah. So the workshops go from half a day to 3 days. That's usually the length of the workshops. But in these workshops, I have two kind of workshops. One is closed company, so it's just for one company, in-house for this company, and then there are other workshops that are open for open public. I work with these workshops very often because they are a very good way to show people what I do and what they can get. So, for example, usually what I do is I give 2 or 3 entrances for former clients, because during the breaks and during when we are like in the speaking time, these people are going to say, hey, yes, in my company it happened and Anders helped us for this and this and that. So all other people hear that. That's when I tell you that, the mouth to mouth. So they start, oh, really? Can you elaborate on that? So they start, or they ask for their phones. Hey, can I go visit your company and see what happened after Andres's job and so on? So that's how former clients help me get.
Right. And how do you market those workshops? So, because I know you said you don't do a lot of marketing. You obviously have networking connections, but specifically with these kind of more public workshops where you're inviting different people from different companies, like how are you filling the seats for those?
It is usually, again, LinkedIn, but direct mailing. So the people that hire me usually are, depending on the size of the company, are either in the HR department or the general managers if the companies are smaller. So I target these people and I start sending them information about not only the workshops, because I don't believe in advertising just like that. It's like more, hey, you know what happened to a company similar to you and they had such a situation like the one you are crossing through now. This is what happened. This is how they were. This is how they are now. And this is what we did for them. 2 out of 10, maybe, answer. So I don't know if this is not a very good rate, 20%, but out of those, maybe half of them say, yeah, I really want to work with you. And they, doing something.
So just a quick question on that. So how often, like each year, how many times will you send out direct mail, kind of a campaign or letters to people? Is that happening throughout the year? Is it just twice a year? What does that look like?
In order for me to organize myself, I do it every 2 months. So every other month, I take a new list of people and I prepare the mailing. That is some video, that is some words that some of my clients send me, or interviews that people have made about my job and so on. And then I send them. So I would do it every 2 months. And I have like a program where the first time I send this information, after 2 months, if they haven't answered, I send another different information. And then there is a third wave of information. Then if they don't answer at the third, then I suppose they're not interested.
And each time that you do one of these campaigns, how many different touch points are there? So I mean, like you send, let's say, an email, then you send a direct mail, then you send a video. Like, are there multiple touch points during one campaign?
No, it's just a mailing campaign where I send a mail.
But so you just send one letter?
Just one mail with all this information. Just one mail.
So it's a package. You have a bunch of information in one letter or one.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Got you. So you send, how many people do you send that to typically every 2 months?
120, maybe 150.
Okay. So out of 120 people, you might get 23, 24 people responding. And of those, typically, how many do you find will actually maybe join one of the workshops?
About 10 people. Out of the 100 and something, about 10 people attend the workshops.
The workshop. And are the workshops, are they in person? Like you're doing it live, or is it online?
Usually they are in person, but from time to time, because people request it, then I do it online. But to tell you the truth, I like to be on stage, and my workshops are very interactive. It's not a very, like I'm the professor here and giving us so on and so on.
You're bringing the energy.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
I got you.
Yeah, exactly. So I really prefer it.
Right. And so, I mean, to me, I'm glad that we've dug a little bit deeper here, because this sounds like it does contribute to the growth of the business. And I'm wondering, when you look at, this effort, you're bringing in, let's say, 10 new people every 2 months, right, to experience you, then there'll be a percentage of those people, like say out of 10 people, you have 1 or 2 people that will move into a larger scale project each time. Is that also about accurate, or?
Yeah, usually they come either from there or former clients. So yeah, I would say 6 out of those 10 people, yeah, maybe 4 would say, no, less. Yeah, maybe 3 would say yes to a project.
To a project, okay.
Yeah, to a project. Right. And then once I am in, we started with small projects, then bigger, and then we are growing. So when I say that an average project is 160, is not that I invoice at once. One invoice or 160 is that the whole package of a client is that, like in average.
Right. Got it. And the workshops, are those paid or are they free for the people that you're saying that the direct mail to and those that you are inviting to come?
That's a strategic decision. Sometimes I decide to do it for free, depending on the kind of people or the location. So if I know that there are club people going there and that I require that these people are there, I open and do it either free or for any symbolic fee or whatever.
What's a symbolic fee? Like $1,000, $50? Give me a sense of what does that look like?
Symbolic is $25 or something like that, just for people to know that they are paying for something. Because when you give something absolutely free, they don't value it. Actually, they don't go because they think it's a worthless thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so a lot of your work starts with a workshop, and then that's how people will bring you in. Then you'll start doing a small scale project that might expand to another. And then if you look at kind of lifetime value of a typical client, it might be $160,000, give or take.
That's right.
Got it. Okay. I'm wondering how you think about scaling and growing this business, because right now it's you as the full-time person. You have these 5 freelancers that you bring in when needed. Before we hit the record button, you mentioned this is a good business, right? You have good margins. There's solid revenue, especially for the size that you are. How do you think about growth? Are you looking just to maintain where you are and get more systems in place? Is your goal to maybe remove yourself a little bit from some of the delivery? Is your goal to bring in more full-time people and build a team? Just talk to me a little bit about the future and what you're working towards.
I don't think I would like to make this like a big company, because I really, really enjoy attending the clients myself and being the one throwing the workshops and being the one doing the speeches and everything. Of course, at some point, if things keep growing, I will need some of these freelancers to become, full-time employees. The good question is, will I wait until we grow to hire them, or will I do the best I can to make it grow and to hire them? That would be a good question for me.
Yeah. You know what we've observed with clients over the years, that oftentimes when you make the commitment, first of all, to back up, right? If you know that you want to grow, if you know that you want to make a bigger impact, if that decision is made, what we've seen quite often is that when you make the decision to invest in building the team, right, then you go to work on it, right? Whereas for some people, if they don't do that, if they say, I'll wait until I get to that next level, then I'll decide, you're never fully pushing the gas pedal as much as you can, because you're just kind of balancing that. But if you've made the investment, now you have people that you feel a responsibility to, and that often drives the founder or co-founders, whatever it might be, to push a little bit more, to take a bit more action, which leads to actually creating the growth. I read something recently which I've heard before, but it kind of restated or kind of brought it back into my mind, which is that what most successful leaders focus on is growth. It's not on saving money, right? So saving money or cutting expenses is fine, but that's not what most leaders really care about. Most leaders care about growth. And so if you find ways to optimize and to cut expenses, great. But what leaders want more than just that is finding ways to grow the organization or grow the business or to grow the impact. So yes, I think these are great questions. And as we talked before, there's no right answer. It all depends on what you want to create. And then once you're clear on that, then you can figure out the best path to get there.
Absolutely. You're right. And I mean, maybe my fear as an entrepreneur is that at some point, if I grow, I will lose the chance to work with my clients. I would say that would be my real fear. But being able to manage that, yeah, we can grow.
Yeah, you can grow. I mean, another option, and we can chat also after on this too, Andres, but increase your fees, right? So if you want to grow in terms of revenue and profit, even beyond where you are right now, by simply increasing your fees, it means that you can continue working with the same number of clients, but just make significantly more with each client that you work with. As long as the lead flow, right, and the opportunities are there, it's a great way. We've always found like the lowest hanging fruit is usually pricing before you even do anything else. So we can chat afterwards if you want. But listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on here today, sharing some of your story and your journey, a lot that people can learn from this. And I want to make sure that people can learn more about you and the work that you do, Andres. So where's the best place for people to go to learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. The webpage is www.globalmanager.co. Yeah. And you can find there all the portfolio and the services and everything that we are doing right now.
Okay. We will have that linked up in the show notes. People can also check you out on LinkedIn if they want to learn more. So we'll include all that at consultingsuccess.com. Just head over to the podcast page and you'll find the interview here with Andres, the full transcript and summary. So thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thanks for listening to today's episode between Andreas and Michael. If you enjoyed today's podcast, then be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to your favorite shows. And if you want to help support the Consulting Success Podcast, I'd encourage you to share this episode out with a friend or colleague. Also, as a reminder, if you want to book your free complimentary call with the Consulting Success team, be sure to visit consultingsuccess.com/grow. Also, if you visit our website, consultingsuccess.com, you'll be able to find Andreas' episode page there as well with everything referenced in today's podcast. That's the end of the line for us this week. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until next time.